when a woman meets her soulmate, if she gets distracted by the wrong man, it can make her feel desperate because deep down she senses that she's settling. And that's what Nina was up against one night when she was getting ready to go out dancing with her friends. And she had this realization that she was about to meet her soulmate that night. And this was kind of wild because she had been divorced for a couple of years, raising her kids in this cute little farmhouse in Portland, Oregon, surrounded by acres of grass. And she was not thinking about dating. She was living her best life, raising her kids, going to school. So for her to have this realization out of nowhere, she was highly intuitive, and so she paid attention to that. And that night, she went to the bar with her friends, cute little honky-tonk bar. There was a band playing in the corner, giant river rock fireplace, gorgeous gleaming oak floors, and she's dancing on the dance floor on those beautiful floors, and she sees this very handsome man. We'll call him Mr. Handsome, whole tall, dark, and handsome motif, dark hair, and they start dancing together. He offers to buy her a beer, and she's thinking to herself, this is awesome. I hope this guy is my soulmate. And I have to just let you in on a secret right here, because Nina was right. She was going to meet her soulmate that night, but it doesn't mean it was going to be easy because, well, backing up, when I discovered how to use an ancient astrology method to predict the timing of love, I saw that when a woman is in that green light period, when she's most likely to make a strong connection, fall deeply in love, it's actually the most dangerous time in her dating life. And it's happening because the planets line up, and it's just like getting hit by Cupid's golden arrow. But just because someone is making you feel the warm fuzzies doesn't necessarily mean they're right for you. I know it feels amazing when you're getting that energy from the universe that's telling you that this is the time to make a strong connection, that you're ready to meet someone. And just like Nina, you maybe even have gotten messages telling you that you can sense that the person you're meant to meet is near. Just be aware when this kind of energy is happening, it's so easy to get distracted by the wrong person. For Nina, luckily that night, another man showed up at the bar, and his name was Gary. Now you might be wondering, how do you tell the difference between a Mr. Handsome and a Gary before 25 years go by? And kind of makes me think of being on a road trip. You know, you are driving down the road and you get really hungry, you start looking at the billboards, but you don't really recognize any of the restaurants, right? You don't recognize any of the logos, and so you don't really know what you're getting. The billboard could look amazing, but the food maybe isn't going to be that great, but you just don't know because you're not from around there. Well, the same is sort of true of dating. Until we see someone's actions, who they are in a relationship, it's very difficult to know if they're actually going to be a good partner. Luckily, astrology can give us some windows into someone's actual intentions. Or if our senses are really well developed, we start to be able to sense someone's true astrology love timing just by seeing how they respond in different situations. Because Mr. Handsome left that night without asking Nina for her telephone number. But Gary turned around and he didn't just ask Nina for her telephone number, he asked Nina's friends for permission to ask for her number. And that's what people mean by green flags. It's like those billboards on the side of the road. They go from being just sort of these images and logos we don't recognize to maybe a logo from our favorite restaurant, so we know exactly what it is to expect, whether or not we're going to get a good meal. Or we may actually see a logo for a restaurant we definitely know we're not interested in, and that also gives us a sign about where we actually want to go and eat that day. Do you know whether or not you're going to get a meal that you're going to enjoy, you're going to be satisfied by, or one that's not going to be up to your standard? When that happens, suddenly you know what you're getting, right? You have a pretty good sense of what kind of meal you're going to have and which restaurant you prefer. And that's a lot like what my astrology is meant to do. It's meant to make it easier to tell the true intentions of the person that's in front of you. Now, Mr. Handsome showed his intentions by actually leaving without asking Nina for her telephone number. But things could have gone very differently, because Nina could have said, hey, I feel very comfortable giving a man my telephone number, so I'm just going to go run after Mr. Handsome, give him my telephone number, and see how things work out. Compared to Gary, who not only asked for her number, but asked her friends for permission to get her number. There's just no comparison, right? And that's why my astrology pairs really well with red flags, because often I find that when women tell me about the different red flags that could have warned them against certain partners, I'm able to look at the astrology and see that these red flags are just rampant when a man's astrology is not lined up to actually make a commitment. So that's why when I went back and I looked at Gary and Nina's astrology love timing for the day that they'd actually met, I saw that they were both in green light windows. So they were both primed to actually make a strong connection and make the commitment that it takes for a long-term relationship to actually be successful. So their timing was locked in, but here's the trap that Nina had to negotiate, because Mr. Handsome was in the very same room that night when she met her soulmate. She wasn't quite sure if he was the one, right? And it's very easy, because of those strong, intense emotions that Cupid gives us when the planets line up, for us to get distracted by the wrong man. So most people see a man like Mr. Handsome and they feel that spark, not realizing that the spark is really coming from them and their attraction patterns. It's up to them to be able to recognize whether or not that person is exhibiting red flags, because green timing, a green light period, isn't a promise to give you a good relationship. It's just setting you up to be in that very receptive mode so that you're ready to make that strong connection and you're ready to commit 100%. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to stay open as long as possible and look to see if the person that you're dating is showing you green flag behaviors. But unfortunately, many women are chasing men who are showing them that they were in a red light period when they met. And that's just like trying to build something real on a foundation that is never going to support an actual relationship that can make you happy, be successful. Nina made the power shift because she didn't go with Mr. Handsome, who was showing her all the red flags and that he wasn't ready. She went with Gary, and the couple are still together 25 years later, and they're happily married. They're retired now. They spend a lot of time on the beach and living their best lives, because she could see that Gary was actually right there with her. She didn't try to chase Mr. Handsome, because if you're chasing, you're not dating, you're recruiting.